Alright. Let me just make sure my voice is being picked up. Alright. Welcome back. Wait a minute. There. Fucked up, that's why. The next morning, there we go. Oh, I'm late. I'm like totally freaking late. I've got to get to class right now. Where did I put my other shoe? Ichigo tears about the house in a whirlwind of nervous energy and long blonde hair. Her eyes are comedically wide, and she stumbles over her own feet on a couple occasions. I watch her as she flaps about, unperturbed. I'm used to this. Naoya. Hey, Naoya. Ichigo stares at me, wide-eyed, her hands clasped together at her front. Have you seen my other shoe? I'm not sure. Where did you have it last? Yesterday. I took them off at the front door after I got in from buying all the food at the convenience store. At least, I think I did. Ichigo's brow furrows. They should be around here somewhere, but I can't only find one. Where is it? It can't have gone very far without a foot inside it. Shoes can't walk on their own. Are you sure you took them off at the front door? Why wouldn't I? That's just common courtesy. You think that, yeah. But you have a habit of forgetting these things. I, like many other kids, was taught from childhood to take my shoes off the moment I step inside. It's something I've done for years, and it's become part of my daily routine, just like clockwork. Ichigo, however, is a special case. She's very forgetful, and sometimes removing her outdoor shoes slips her mind. She'll be in the kitchen cooking dinner when suddenly she'll pause, look at her feet, then gasp in surprise. What? I'm still wearing my shoes. How did that happen? She usually exclaims, as though some malevolent magic force put her sneakers back on her feet when she wasn't looking. She's tracked dirt inside the house a couple of times already. It's a bit of a pain, but I can't really begrudge her for it. I know she doesn't mean to cause any trouble or any problems, and besides, the only one she's inconvenient right now is herself. I'm sure I took my shoes off at the door. One of them's here, at least. Maybe you put one back and forgot the other. Have you tried checking under the kitchen table or behind the couch? Behind the couch? Ichigo brow furrows. But at this point, I'm desperate. I'll try anything. Ichigo tears about the living room. She crawls on her hands and knees, looking behind the TV, the bookshelves, and then... Aha! Under the couch. It was there after all. Ichigo retrieves her missing shoe from its hidey hole, then gets to her feet. Is she afraid I'll sprout wings and flutter away? She looks at me and says, "Thank you. You're so smart. I'd like lose my head if I didn't have you." It's fine. I'm happy to help. Besides, it was just a lucky guess. You say that, but you luckily guesses almost always turn out to be right. You're the one who helped me find my cell phone when I dropped it, and my favorite hair tie, and my newest Hashizero Shiroi CD. You must be like some sort of human treasure magnet. That's one disaster averted, but Ichigo's eyes dart to the clock on the wall. It's getting even later. Time has a tendency to do that, yeah. It waits for no man, or so I've heard. Crap, I'm gonna be late for sure. Sorry I couldn't make you breakfast, Naomi. I've got to head out now. Like right now. Well, good luck on your job. You have your first shift today, don't you? Uh-huh. I'll do my best. You always do. I'm sure your boss will love you and your new colleagues too. Go out there and knock 'em dead, okay? Make me proud. Heh. Now you sound like a baseball coach. I did used to watch baseball with my dad. He was pretty into it. I don't get the appeal myself, though. You mean because there ain't enough cute girls? There are never enough cute girls. The world needs more adorable idols. And more capable nurses. Yeah, that's right. I'm a nurse in training myself, and I've got a lecture to go to. See you later. Have fun. You too. I wave Ichigo goodbye and watch amused as she slips on her shoe and finally leaves the house. She closes the door behind her with a resounding thud. And then after that, there's nothing. It's very quiet, almost eerily so. Ichigo makes a lot of noise, but I've grown used to it. Her consent, cheery chatter is a comfort without it. The atmosphere in our apartment feels somber and staid. Oh well, there's no use sitting here moping. Today's the day I start my brand new job. I wonder how it'll go. I guess there's only one way to find out. Ah, I yawn, one hand pressed up to my mouth as I walk along the seafront. Excuse me. It's a pleasantly warm morning, and I can feel the salty sea air running its invisible fingers through my hair. I can hear the sound of the waves lapping against the sand in the distance, and the cawing of the gulls as they dance in the air. Today will be my very first shift in the Seaside Cafe, and I'm cautiously optimistic about it. Miss My Miss Mayumori seems to like me already, perhaps a bit too much. And while Ku and Mayuki weren't exactly welcoming, Mayuki did call me a creep. I have some hope. I think if given enough time, I'll be able to win them over. It'd be nice to have a few more friends other than Ichigo. I know I used to be a delinquent, but I don't want to be a complete loner. Speaking of my new colleagues, is that Yuku? I pulled out my reverie by the sight of a familiar face. She's wandering along the beach about a few feet away from me. She's attired not in her maid's garb, but in casual clothes. I've not seen her don before. A ruffled blouse and a denim skirt. She might look different, but I recognize her with ease. That dreamy, misty look on her face is the same as it was yesterday, as is her gait. She's promenading along the sands very slowly, as though lost in a dream. Isn't she aware that our shift starts in 15 minutes? If she doesn't pick up the pace, she'll be late. I'm a bit worried about I'm a bit worried about being late too. But still, I find myself jogging over to her. Hey, Ku. Oh. Ku blinks her pale eyelashes, trembling, and turns her head. She frowns. It's the creep. Ah, ha ha. I laugh awkwardly, running a hand through my hair as I do so. That's what Mayuki said, isn't it? I remember that, at least. Huh? You mean you don't remember my real name? Ku shakes her head. That might be a problem. I don't think you should call me a creep while we're at work. No? No, it wouldn't make a good impression on our customers. Then what should I call you? Naoya. That's what I'm called. Naoya. Ku brows furrows with what seems a commemorable effort. Is memorizing my name that much of a challenge for her? I'll try to remember it. Good. So, what are you doing? Going to work. Right. I should have figured. That makes sense. I'm still curious about something, though. Do you usually walk along the beach before you go to work? Sometimes. I wait expectantly, but Ku doesn't elaborate. Is that all she's got to say? No explanation? I guess she's a woman of few words. How mysterious. So, what do you usually do on the beach? Stand. Stand? Sometimes sit. Right. So, I take it you like the beach? Ku nods. She's not very talkative, is she? What do you enjoy about the beach the most? The waves. They sound nice. Ah, I think I'm starting to get somewhere with this girl. Stony faced though she might be. Stony faced though as she might be. I'm glad her reply was so reassuringly normal. A lot of people like listening to the waves. The sound of the waves makes me think of lost souls screaming. I like that. Uh, right. I talked all that back. I take all that back. Ku isn't normal at all. Hey, Naoya. Huh? What is it? We have a bit of time, so do you want me to tell you your fortune? My fortune? Ku nods. I have my tarot cards with me. Would you like to know what they have to say? I can't say I've ever given my future much thought, but if you are that invested, I guess you can give it a shot. Since it's my first day on the job, I'd like some reassurance that it'll go well. Unfortunately, I can't do that. Your future could be, or your fortune could be good or bad. It's not up for me to decide. I guess that's down to the cards, huh? No, the cards show your fortune, your future. Fuck, but they do not decide it. That is already set in stone. Right. So they're like a conduit. Ku nods. Mayuki called you a creep, but I think she was wrong. You seem nice to me, and you're rather intelligent. Well, thanks. I smile. So, how about my fortune? Can you use the cards to show me how my day will go? Ku nods. Let me see. She reaches into a pouch fastened to her belt, then selects a card from within. I think she's doing it at random, but if pressed, I'm sure she'd say this is all down to the whims of fate. She examines the cards, then frowns. I see. What do you see exactly? Look. Ku flips the card over to reveal an image of a tower being struck by lightning. I don't know anything about tarot cards or what they represent, but this image of the crumbling tower looks a bit disconcerting. Surely that can't be a good sign. I guess I'm glad Ku didn't pull a super ominous card like death, but it doesn't bode well. What does that mean? A tower can mean anything: change, destruction, and confrontation. But I think it relates to you in a very specific way, which is it's a warning. You should be wary of two sundry maids. If you're not careful, you'll get into big trouble. Two sundry maids? I frown. Are you talking about Mayuki? You'll find out soon enough now. Ku slots the card back into its pack, then offers me a very small, faint smile. Shall we be on our way? Right. I accompanied Ku to the seaside cafe in companionable silence, neither of us speaking. During our walk, I ruminate on Ku's ominous words. Is something bad really going to happen? My first day working at Seaside Cafe, and I'm doing my best to get to grips with the basics. I've never worked as a waiter before, and there's quite a lot for me to learn in a relatively short period of time. I'm doing my best to keep up with my new workload, but oof. Despite my best efforts, I still end up making mistakes. Kaya, I was in the process of delivering an order to the kitchen when I just so happened to bump into Mayuki, and I mean that in a literal sense. I'm sorry. Did I press X? Yes. Ow! My raven-haired colleague is now sprawled on the ground, her stocking legs spread in quite a compromising manner. The full hem of her frilly skirt is rumpled, and rather a lot of her plump thighs are on display. In that pose, her cheeks lightly flushed. She looks good enough to eat. What the fuck? But speaking of food, Mayuki was supposed to be carrying an ice cream sundae to table 13 before I knocked her. Now, said ice cream sundae is lying on the floor. Melting, melting strawberry ice cream is splattered everywhere, like something from a crime scene. And the fluted glass it was served on has shattered. I hope Mayuki didn't cut herself. Are you alright, Mayuki? What? Miyuki looks a little dazed after her tumble. She rubs her temple with one hand. Forget lacerating herself on the glass. Now I'm starting to worry she has a concussion. I've only been at this job for a few hours and I might have just injured one of my coworkers for life. Hey, Miyuki. I couch, I couch in front of her. I coach in front of her, mindful of the broken glass, and wave one hand in front of her face. Can you see my hand? How many fingers am I holding up? Miyuki blinks. Then she frowns. Yokomo, Yokoyama? So you remember my name? That's a relief. It seems all her memories are in order at the very least. I'm glad she doesn't have amnesia, but Yokoyama, you cretin. Soon I began to wish she did. The shock of her stumble must have finally wore off. Miyuki hauls herself to her feet, her legs trembling growlers at me. Her eyes are hard and serious, positively burning with indignant rage. The expression wouldn't look out of place of a serial killer. Not that I've met many serial killers in my time. If she had a katana, she'd probably cut my head off. How could you be so careless? Look at this mess you've made. I wouldn't have dropped that ice cream sundae if it weren't for you. Now the floor's all sticky, and there's glass everywhere. It's a health hazard. Are you trying to make a nuisance of yourself on purpose? Is that why Anya hired you? Well, if she wanted to employ a clown, she certainly made a good decision. You're a whole circus unto yourself. I'm sorry, Miyuki. It was an accident. Don't call me Miyuki. We're not friends. In fact, we scarcely know each other. I'm Shinanomi to you. Nothing more and nothing less. And am I making myself clear? Quite clear. And another thing. Crap. Miyuki's really starting to lose it. She doesn't just look mad, she looks downright pissed. It looks like I'm going to be in for a pretty long lecture. And to make matters worse, this is happening in broad view of all the Seaside Cafe patrons. They're all watching us and they're all snickering. Customer 1. Why did I just read the name? Miyuki's sure going to town on that new guy, isn't she? I almost feel sorry for him. Well, he does deserve it. He had caused quite a mess. I'd be upset too if I were in Miyuki's position. You're being too hard on him. If anything, I'm grateful. We were almost treated to an eyeful of Miyuki's panties, thanks to his clumsiness. If only her skirt could have flipped up a few inches more. Now I'm curious. I wonder what color she's wearing. Miyuki's pauses midway through her lecture. Her right eye twitches and her fingers clench into a fist at her side. If she wasn't so dedicated to her role of being a waitress, I think she would have slugged these guys, and for good reason. They're not being very discreet. In any event, Miyuki clears her throat. Let's leave this for later. I'll give you a proper talking to when our shift ends, away from the customers. I don't want to bother them. For now, you should at least clean up the mess you made. That glass needs to be swept up ASAP. Do you think you can do that, Yakoyama? Or are you planning to mess that up too? I'll do my best. Shinanomi. Good. See to it that you do. Honestly. Miyuki scolds. I have no idea why Anya hired you. You're not making my job any easier. You really need to get it together. Otherwise, heads will roll. So saying Miyuki stalks off to deep sights of admiration from the customers. Miyuki's so cute when she gets angry. I wish she'd insult me too. Her flushed face is especially adorable. I shoot these two guys a sideways glance. Their comments are actually making my skin crawl. Jeez, I sigh. I guess Ku's warning this morning had some merit to it after all. Today has not been a good day for me or Miyuki. Alright, Yakoyama, listen here. Miyuki rounds on me the moment the cafe closes, her eyes narrowed. She's so frustrated she hasn't taken her frilly maid attire off. She's still wearing her cute black dress and the pair of cat ears that go alongside it. I'm still wondering about those cat ears. They don't seem to be part of the Seaside Cafe dress code. Who strange thought she is doesn't wear those cat ears. But I don't have a chance to ask. Miyuki's busy lecturing me. I know it's your first day on the job, but you really have to be more careful. You could have seriously hurt me. I know, I'm sorry. It was a mistake. I realize this isn't much of an excuse, but it was my first day and you were nervous? Huh. Miyuki snorts. You're right. It's not much of an excuse. It is my job to serve customers to the best of my ability, given my position as a waitress. I'm supposed to look dignified at all times. Sure, I understand. I'm sorry. You say that, but I don't think you do understand. Not really. You made a huge mess. Now, will you promise not to do it again? I'll try, but trying isn't good enough. If you can't obtain results, you have no reason to continue working in this establishment. Your clumsiness will drag the rest of us down with you. Use that brain of yours. I'm sure you must have one. Of course I have a brain. If I didn't, I'd literally be dead. I almost wish you were. Jesus. I wish you'd never stepped foot in this place. Hey, I frowned. I did screw up pretty bad earlier. If Miyuki wants to hold a grudge, I can't really blame her. But isn't she taking this a bit too far? Can't you try and be a bit nicer? It was an honest mistake, you know. As if that mistake makes it better. You don't understand at all. You're so thoughtless. Hey, Miyuki, don't call me by my first name so easily. It's not like we're friends or anything. That's Shinomi to you. Alright, Shinomi. I sigh. This situation is getting out of hand. How should I reply? Try to be understanding. Yeah, it's best not to upset her further, especially when she's so upset already. I'll play at being Mr. Nice Guy, and with some luck, that should diffuse the situation. I sure hope it does, at least. Once again, I really am sorry, Miyuki. I'll be careful in the future, I promise. I can tell you take your job seriously, and I have no desire to get in your way. Well, you would be right about that. At the very least, Miyuki's her arms folded across her chest. Arms. I work fair. Fair harder than you could have ever imagined. That's right, she does. Ku, who has already changed into her casual clothes, that was fast, appears beside us, as if by magic. Miyuki was clumsy when she started working here. She dropped plates a lot and spilled tea on people's laps. The clientele complained to Anya. They were very upset. They said Miyuki was incompetent. Huh? Really? Miyuki projects such an unassumably aurora of perfection. What with her cool, haughty demeanor, I never would have pegged her for a clumsy girl. What? No. Miyuki's self-righteous indifference began to falter. Her face turns red and she scowls at Ku. Don't tell Yakuyama that. He doesn't need to know. My past is completely irrelevant. Oh, right. Ku head hangs. I apologize. I was trying to help. I want Naoya to know that you're not being pissy for the sake of it. You've worked hard. I'm proud of you. Good job. Ku gives Miyuki a thumbs up and Miyuki sighs. It seems some of the tension in the air has been diffused, thanks to Ku, because Miyuki no longer looks so angry when next she regards me. She's still upset, that much is obvious given her flushed face, but she doesn't look ready to castrate me anymore. I guess that's progress. Or whatever, maybe I am taking this a bit too seriously. Geez, you think? If what I'd like to say, but I am strained. Miyuki's only just calmed down. I don't want to rile her up again. I know it was an accident. I don't think you're the sort of person who'd knock a girl down on purpose. It still hurt a lot. Miyuki pouts, but I shouldn't be so angry. We're supposed to be colleagues. If we're going to work together, we need to learn how to get along. I have to let my anger go. While you, Miyuki stabs a finger in my direction, need to work on your coordination. Do you think you can do it? I'll try my best. Good. I suppose that is all I can ask for. None of us are perfect. I made I made mistakes when I first started out too, so I'll let you off the hook just this once. Don't expect this to happen again though. You and I are not friends. I have no interest in getting to know you. Don't get the wrong idea, you idiot. Hmm. Miyuki turns her nose up in the air, then stalks off to the break room. I guess she's going to get changed into her casual clothes. I haven't seen Miyuki in her casual clothes before, actually. I'm kind of curious what she wears when she isn't working as a waitress. But I know better than to follow her into the staff room and take a sneak peek. Miyuki hates me enough as it is. I don't want to incur her eerie further by blundering in on her in the middle of getting undressed. Knowing her, she'd probably punch me and call me a pervert. Jeez. I massage my temples. I think I can feel a headache coming on. Today could have gone better. It could also have gone worse. I guess that's right. Thanks for stepping in, Ku. If it weren't for you, Miyuki might have blown a gasket. It's alright, I know how to handle her. We've been friends for a long time. How long? Since kindergarten. We were 3 years old when we met. Damn. I whistled. I've known Ichigo for about as long as that myself, but it's not really the same. Ichigo is a very boldly cheerful girl, while Miyuki is most definitely not. I've had the pleasure of spending a few hours with her, and I'm already tired of her. I can't imagine spending years by her side. Has Miyuki always been this short-tempered? Ku nods. She got into a fight. She got into fights a lot, usually with the boys. She doesn't like boys. Huh. Aha. I guess she hasn't changed much over the years. How on earth did you put up with her for all this time without going mad? I don't know. Maybe I was mad already. Coming from anybody else, I'd take that line as a throwaway joke, but it hits a little different when spoken in Ku's cool monotone. Maybe she's being serious. Miyuki isn't that bad, though. She's nice deep down. It must be very, very deep down. I don't know. My other classmates teased me, but Miyuki's never did. She cares about justice. She's kind of like a superhero. But even superheroes make mistakes. She judges people too quickly and acts before she thinks. She isn't the smartest person, but I like her. I hope you will grow to like her too. I think they might be the most coos ever spoken in one go. Usually she communicates in hums and nods and half sentences. She really must like Miyuki to orate for so long on her behalf. I don't know if I trust Ku, but she seems level-headed enough for her, enough her interest in her oculate aside. Maybe I should make an effort to meet her halfway. I don't know if that's if all that'll. I don't know if that'll happen, but I did start working here to make enemies. I didn't start working here to make enemies. If Miyuki starts softening up, I'll respond in turn. I wouldn't mind being her friend. Good, I'm glad. Ku smiles thinly. Then she raises on her tippy toes. I'm about a head taller than she is, and rests her palm on the top of my head. Rubbing my hair like one might stroke a cat, Ku says in gentle tones, There, there, I knew you were a good boy. Thank you for being so understanding. It's no problem. You don't need to thank me. And you don't need to stroke me either. I'm not an animal. No, you're not. You're a Naoya. But I think even Naoya is like being patted. There, there. Ku just on the top of my head. I'm not entirely sure what to make of this, actually. I'll just say it feels nice. It feels nice, but I don't really get why Ku is being so touchy-feely. I don't get her at all, if I'm being quite honest. But maybe that will come with time. It's fortunate that I have no shortage of that. The chances are high that I'll be seeing a lot of Ku and Miyuki in the coming weeks. Can friendship really bloom under such inauspicious conditions? That's a tough word. I'm not sure, but I'm not pessimistic enough to discount it offhand. Who knows? We might just get one better than I could ever anticipate. So how did things go? My first day at work has finally finished, and now I'm strolling along the streets with Ichigo. We met up at the beach around 3:30 so we could pick up some groceries. Ichigo went shopping only yesterday to buy ingredients for my celebratory curry, but we're running perilously low on the essentials. We're all out of eggs, and we need spring onion, potatoes, cabbage, and a whole host of other ingredients. Ichigo and I usually go shopping together. It's easier to carry everything back home with two pair of hands as opposed to one. Did you have fun, Naoya? Ichigo walks in perfect sync with me, her hands linked at her front. It's a sunny day and Ichigo's golden hair seems to glow, much like her bright, beaming smile. Ichigo smiles approximately 90% of the time. I'd expect nothing less from her. She'd be beaming even if the sky was overcast and the clouds were gray and swollen with burgundy droplets of rain. Ichigo's a veritable ray of sunshine in her own right. It's hard for me not to smile in return when I'm with her, though I feel pretty tired right now. I don't know if fun is quite the right word, but I guess it didn't go too badly. I didn't kill anyone, at the very least. That's always a plus. It's important to look on the bright side, hee hee. And how were your new colleagues? Did you get on well with them? I guess. My brow furrows. Actually, I'm not too sure. Ku doesn't seem that bad, though she is a bit strange. But as for Mayuki, I recall her slumped on the ground, legs sprawled, the hem of her frilly dress rumpled about her thighs. She looked stunned as she laid there, her mind struggling to register what exactly had happened. But the moment she returned to her senses, she rounded on me like a wounded animal. If it weren't for Ku, I shudder to think what might have happened. She really might have ripped my head off. I don't think she likes me very much. Huh? Why not? What's not to like about you? You're a really swell guy. Thanks, Ichigo. I appreciate the vote of confidence. Though I think Mayuki would disagree with you there. There was a bit of a mishap at work. I gave Ichigo an abridged version of the day's events, and she gasped and tuts and frowns in all the right places. When I finally finish, she frowns and says, "Well, I didn't know you were, so clumsy." I'm not usually. I think it must have been the nerves. My hands were shaking pretty bad. I almost spilled a couple of cups of coffee, and it's a bit of my own tongue when I welcome a customer. And I bit my tongue when I welcome a few customers. That would have been embarrassing enough but then I had to bump into Mayuki. It sounds like you did a real number on her. I knocked her flying. She hit the floor with a loud thud. It was pretty dramatic. Everybody in the cafe was staring. I would have stared too if I was there. And maybe I wouldn't have snapped a few photos, depending. Depending on what? Oh, you know. Ichigo grins solicitously. It's the sort of grin that wouldn't look too out of place on a creepy old uncle during a family get-together after having one too many drinks. Sorry, Uncle Raizuki, but it has to be said, you really are a creep. You couldn't see her panties, could you? I should have known you'd ask that. I take one of Ichigo's twin tails in hand, then give it a yank. I don't pull hard enough to hurt, but Ichigo still squeals at the same. Gah! You're so rough, Naoi. Don't give me that. You brought it upon yourself, asking such inappropriate questions. Why do you care about Miyuki's panties anyway? Why shouldn't I? You know how I feel about cute girls. I can't help but, take an interest. Yeah. I roll my eyes. You can be such a perv sometimes. Me? A perv? Never. I just want to know more about your coworker, Naoya. I asked because I care. You care about Miyuki's panties that much? Don't you? Not as much as you seem to. And I didn't see her panties. As a matter of fact, the maid dresses at the Seaside Cafe have a lot of ruffle, so it hide all the most important parts. Oh, jeez. That sounds like a bummer. Ichigo clicks her tongue. You'll just have to bump into her again. Then, it's for science. What sort of science exactly? I give Ichigo Twin Tail another tug, which prompts a squeal high enough to make a few nearby seagulls scatter. And I'm in no rush to repeat the day's mistake. Miyuki was really upset that I bumped into her. I was afraid she was going to eviscerate me. She was that angry? Wouldn't you be if someone bumped into you? I don't know. I don't get angry that often. It doesn't make any sense to sweat the small stuff. Life's too short. It'd be inconvenient, but I'm sure I'd live. Might actually be kind of nice being pushed down by you. Hee hee. Now you're making it sound like I did it on purpose. I sigh. I wish everyone could be as laid back as you. I would say I don't try, but it just comes natural to me. It's just the way I am. Hee hee. Ichigo shoots me a peace sign as she so often does. It's pretty much her default go-to pose. All the photos I have of us together, from middle school to the present day, feature Ichigo striking a peace pose. She's always grinning from ear to ear. You can't help but admire her devotion to non-stop, around-the-clock cheerfulness. I guess you've made an enemy of Miyuki then. I guess so. We didn't get into a real fight, but it came close. I'm a little worried about going back into work tomorrow. I don't want her holding a grudge. I'm sure it'll be okay, Naoya. You might have gotten off to a bad start, but that means your relationship has ample room to improve from here on out. If you're nice and polite to her, like you are to me, I'm sure you'll win her around. Don't lose faith, okay? Now, Ichigo pauses, her hands planted on her lips. It looks like we're at the supermarket. Let's stock up. Right. I guess it's time to put aside the day's concerns and join the fray of frantic housewives, all searching for the best deals of chicken breast and cartons of eggs. The supermarket can be a bloodbath around this time. We need to think up a plan of action and stick to it, or we'll be swept away. You know what? That's where we're gonna stop. Let me save it. All right, everybody. That's what we're gonna call it for today. We're gonna come back again tomorrow. They're not hour streams, but it's because I'm doing little stories, and it's a lot of reading, and my voice is strained. But again, I appreciate everybody for stopping by. I appreciate the ones that will stop by and check this out. I want to say 2023 is my year where I'm going to stream more. But again, I suffer mental health issues, so if I take breaks, just bear with me. I will be back at some point. But again, I plan to go live again tomorrow. We're going to do some more of the story. I have a bunch of these visual novels to stream. So if you're looking forward to that, go ahead and hit that subscribe button if you're not already subscribed. But with that, I bid you adieu. Goodbye. And good night. Bang!